Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining me today, doing the YouTube live stream. We are currently drawing spaceships all the time, every day, and it's because I have a spaceship book that I am kickstarting. If you're coming to the stream later, this book has funded, and we are going to get this book shipped out to backers. So excited for that. Let's just look at this really quick. We're at just over 1,100 backers, 61,000 funded, which is incredible. That means I'm getting over 1,000 books printed for this Kickstarter. And if you haven't backed it yet, check it out. We've got a bunch of cool rewards here for people who back at different levels. Got a pin, spacing out pin, a print set, and this is a thing I just came up with, which I think if you're into spaceships and you're liking any of these live streams, you're gonna like this. This is the cutaway set, and what these are a double print cutaway, which I've got over here. We're gonna zoom in and look at these bigger, but check it out. This is what it looks like framed, and you can come in here and look at this zoomed in here, and it's like you could see the outside of the ship with line work, and then the inside is like translucent, like the paper is translucent, so you could see the inside of it. Which, if you have ever seen those like human body books where you can turn the pages, it's kind of like that. Of course, been doing the artwork. Every one of these pieces of art have sold. I don't know if I have time to do any more this next week, but if I do, I'll definitely be putting them up there. And then we just unlocked the sticker, so everyone's going to get the vinyl car sticker that says "I love spaceships." And then we're trying to unlock before the end of it is the calendar, which is a reversible double print sided calendar. So that's what's going on. That's the update here. Let's go over and look at these things. I just want to show you these because this is one of those ideas that it just came to me one day, and I was like, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool to do that?" And I never got around to doing that. And then I kind of forgot about it. And then when I was doing this Kickstarter, one day I was like working on these cutaway drawings, and I was like, whoa, that print idea would be really fun to do. I wonder if I could do it. So I printed up a test. I had some vinyl, or some vellum sheets, and so I printed up a test. You could see here, this is the outside of the Raven, which is Missile Mouse's. It's a Missile Mouse's ship. It's a Gravion G-77 Space Superiority Fighter, manufactured by Hokutose Defense, piloted by Missile Mouse. So you could read that right there. But then you peel this back, and you could see all the innards. So that's Missile Mouse's. This is Skull Chaser's ship, the Lucky Star, and we'll go to the little bottom here. So it's a Zonoff J-33 light freighter with modifications done by Kepler Shipyards, piloted by Skull Chaser. And what these things were originally designed for were to be, they were supposed to be essentially haulers for like pushing cargo through space. They have these massive engines to move, tons and tons of cargo. And Skull Chaser repurposed it to be like a star runner so that he could like use it kind of as his bounty hunting smuggling ship. And so it's got all this energy of a hauler, all this power of a hauler, but it's used to kind of skirt from system to system. It's got a little thing there that he could smuggle livestock if needs be, but this is the living area. This right here is his escape pod. So it's his cockpit, but also his escape pod. So he can hit eject if things ever get damaged here. And then we've got all the life support components here, got navigation systems here, stuff like that. But this is my favorite spaceship I've ever designed. It's so like simple and bulky, but I don't know. I love it. And then we have Star Princess Avon's ship, the Solero, and this is named after the city where she's from, Solaros, I guess is what it's called. But this is a Coruscant A27 Star Runner, specifically designed, purpose built for kind of what she does, and she's modified it at Kepler Shipyard, modified it for her needs. And you could see here the exterior. Someone asked on social media somewhere if the inspiration for the shape was like a Sony video camera. It wasn't, but looking at it now, I could see without, how you could say that. But let's peel this back, and we've got all of the innards happening here. She's got these engines. A light went off there. The lower level is for transporting stuff, but it also doubles as her game room. So she's got a couple arcade machines in there. And then this is her living space. She's got a bathroom. Back around here is like a kitchen. This portal is where you get from bottom to top. And then this is her, I don't know, why the heck does this keep turning off? My light keeps shutting off. And then we got, the cockpit here and whatnot. And then this is all all the stuff underneath that supplies it. It's loaded with missiles. That's what she uses primarily to defend herself with. So these are all available in the Kickstarter, these 3 prints. They're the cutaway prints. You can only get them through this Kickstarter right now, and they're going to be handcrafted in my studio. I'm printing these at home on special. I've got a nice printer. I'm going to print them on special paper, what's it called? Fine art quality, archival paper. So you get those things framed. You hang them up. They'll last forever. You can pass them down to your spaceship loving kids or grandkids who will actually probably be living on spaceships in that distant future. I don't know. All right. Glad you guys like these cutaways. So let's get right down to business today. We're going to switch over to Cintiq here, and what we're going to do is color some spaceships. I've got shoot. Let's see here. I don't know why it keeps doing this. There we go. Okay, I've got some spaceships that need color added to them, and I've got the line work already, and so I thought we'd just go in here and color a few of these. So let's find some spaceships here. This is the one. We're going to do this one, and we're going to do this one. So we're going to open these with Photoshop. Yeah. Karga says defend, back to the missiles on Avon's ship. I said they're to defend herself. Yeah, they're to attack, they're to defend, whatever's needed. Depends on who the aggressor is that she's up against. Okay, so this is a ship that I drew a few years ago, and I thought it'd be cool if it had color to it. So what we're gonna do here is when I'm working like this, I always like to expand its size, so I double it. We'll go to 600 DPI. And when I'm coloring, I like to have that extra amount of coloring oomph, digital oomph, to make sure it looks good in print and I can get detail in there and whatnot. So we're gonna let this load, and then I always do a copy of the line work. We're gonna go in here and do threshold to clean up this line work. And then here's a little trick I learned. So you do 2 thresholds. You do one that's like the base line layer, but you can see here, it's caught a lot of this this gray tone there, and we got to get rid of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a second threshold. This time we're going to drop it down so that we lose all that gray. And the problem there is when you do that, you can lose some of this line work here. So we're going to turn on this top layer and keep that our main layer. And then we've got this this lighter layer underneath it, and we're just going to erase out the top layer so that we can clean up that line work somewhat. So I do the eraser tool. Sometimes I'll get in there and just do the lasso tool and just hit delete. And all that crunchiness is gone there. When it's a smaller area, I'll do the eraser tool as well. Just get rid of some of this. Some of it's nice though, because it acts as some of that acts as like good texture. Oops, that's too much. Just gonna come in here and delete that there. My daughter came in yesterday and she saw me working on a spaceship, and she's like, I am so sick of spaceships. I'm like, I'm sorry, but first off, you don't have to worry about it. You're not drawing spaceships. I think she's just joking though. And secondly, these spaceships are going to be funding your part of your life for the next few months, because I draw these things and then I sell them, and that's how it works. So we're going to go in here and switch it from, we're at CMYK, we're going to switch it to RGB. Eventually this will be printed in CMYK, but I always like working in RGB first. And the reason for that is it just makes it easier to get the colors that I want. Easier to make those. You might have noticed Allison's not joining me today, and that's because she took the kids to a water park. There's like a city, it's more like a city pool that has water park features to it. So it's like they're just there having fun. We're in Arizona, which I don't know if you've heard, gets really hot in the summer. So we're always looking for anything we could do to get out of that heat. All right. Oh, let's get back in here and clean up some of this stuff down here as well. And we'll clean up this stuff here too. Just got a little support craft. That one needs a little cleanup as well. All right, now we're going to merge these 2 layers, and you can see how we just clean that line work up, got rid of most of that background stuff. And now we're going to polish these up and make some really nice, some nice color to it. So first things first, I'll go in and I just like to do a wand tool to like select all of the space area. And we'll modify this and expand it to 3 pixels, and then inverse it. And then we'll pick a nice gray color to fill it all with. And then you could see what areas didn't quite get selected. So then we'll go in and manually fill in those areas now as well. Hey, Seth. Thanks for joining us today. Seth says it's been a while since I've checked in on the video of yours, Jake. Good to see you're doing well. Love your work. Thank you so much, Seth. I really appreciate that. Thanks for joining us today. I did forget to post a link to this stream on Twitter, which is what I usually put a link on Discord and then on Twitter. I forgot to do it on Twitter. I wanted to get some of those people joining us as well. Actually, I'm curious if you're here in the chat listening, how do you find out about these streams? Is it just you're on YouTube already and it says Jake went live, or are you coming at these from somewhere else? Do you find them on Twitter? I don't think nobody here is really from Twitter because I didn't post a link on there. But I'm curious how you ended up here. And if it's your first time, too, let me know. If you've never heard of my work before, I'm curious. Pizza Sauce, he says YouTube. Melissa says Discord now, but in the past, Instagram or YouTube or Kickstarter. That's right. I did post a update on Kickstarter today. Robert says Discord. Zach's usually on Twitter and the newsletter. Okay. Word's getting out there. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to try to find some inspiration for color here. Kyle says he gets a notification from YouTube. That's cool. So YouTube will push it out there. We're going to go here and go to Flickr favorites. And what I've been doing is, let's switch to browser time. I've been finding cool vehicles and cars on here and boats. Mostly because I like their paint jobs. Look at this truck, and look at that black, orange, and yellow. That's beautiful, and how it all comes to a point right there. You got little white accents in places or chrome. I don't think we're going to use it for this. For this particular ship, we are gonna go look at actual ships, ocean ships, for inspiration. Got Legos in there too. I actually used this color scheme for a ship earlier this week. So Sai says, I'm usually browsing suggested on YouTube, and it gives me an option about an hour before that you'll be going live. Then I set a reminder when you go online. That's cool. So a lot of people here from YouTube. That's good. The Master Chill says, hey, Mr. Parker, longtime fan. My girlfriend just gave me your latest book as a gift, and the stream was a welcome bonus. Great. Happy birthday, by the way. Hope you had a good one. Mike Harris says, really digging the cutaway stuff on Insta. Can't wait for the Kickstarter. Thank you so much. I can't wait to get this book finished and out to you guys. Okay, so here we got a ship. This is red and black, white and blue, which is cool. I just did a ship those colors, so I'm tempted to avoid that. I think I want to go something like this or this. Kind of a red bottom and a green top. I think that would work. I love these escape pods that they have on these big ships. Have you ever seen them launch those things? They just everybody piles in and they pull this ripcord and just goes into the water. They look like little spaceships. Let's see here. Should have opened up a new window. So we're gonna put this over there. This is cool. Black, red, and a golden rod. This is too red. This is kind of cool. This is a German. No, Rotterdam. Where's Rotterdam? Is that in? It's some Scandinavian place, right? But look at the black. You've got the Coast Guard colors, but then black, yellow, red. That's kind of neat. Okay. I think we're going to do this. We're going to go with that. So I'm just going to have that over there as reference, and we'll go back to Cintiq. And let's add some green, and let's add some green and red, orangish, like rusty red to it. So we'll do like this green first. So I'm going to select this and go up here like this and just draw a line. We'll say cuts across like that. I can already tell I'm going to like this. I'm just using a hard round brush right here. Rotterdam is actually part of the Netherlands. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I knew it was somewhere cold and north, but I couldn't remember which one of those countries up there it could be. It's your neighbor, Master Chill. Where do you live? Sweden, Finland, Denmark. Which one of those places do you call home? I wouldn't mind visiting any of those places. They look gorgeous. And I wouldn't mind doing it in the winter either, but I think the best time probably to visit them is spring and summer, right? Belgium. Okay. Belgium. That's a good. My brother-in-law lived in Belgium for a couple of years. He really liked it. Let's see here. Sometimes I got to rub my screen down because I think my pen's been scratching my Cintiq screen, which is frustrating. These things aren't cheap. Okay, now we're going to go in and add the under part. Let's just pull that up really quick again. It's kind of a rusty red. This works for it. Don't go near the coast during the winter. Icy cold, mate. Okay. Don't go near the coast in Belgium or the Netherlands at wintertime. Unless you really know what you're doing, I bet, huh? I also knew when I lived in Utah, I had neighbors that lived in Finland for a couple of years. And you guys are like totally educating me on European geography. I appreciate that. Netherlands is in Western, not Northern Europe. Okay. Listen, it's been a while since I've looked at a map of Europe. You talk to Americans and they don't even know. Like, it's funny. You talk to someone who lives on the East Coast in New York City or, Connecticut or something, and you ask them, okay, which state's Wyoming and which state's Colorado, or which state is North Dakota and which state is South Dakota, they won't even, there's no way they could tell you that. You don't even know the other half of the country. And it's the same thing too. I grew up in Arizona. And you ask me, like, which state is Vermont and which one's New Hampshire? And I always get those two mixed up. And I can't remember where Kentucky and Tennessee is. Like, all those Midwestern, southern states are, like, so hard to keep track of. But I know all the big, blocky, square states really easily. This is a little too orange. We're gonna select it all. And we're just gonna, actually we're gonna desaturate it just a pinch. There we go. Excuse me. Aki says hello from New Zealand. Completely other hemisphere from all of us. We're all talking about the northern hemisphere, and Aki's sitting there enjoying winter in New Zealand. Okay, so we got this one done. Now we're gonna go down here, and we're gonna do some color on this one. This one's gonna be like a goldenrod. Oop, gotta select. We might do, maybe we make this a Ukrainian ship. Do like blue and yellow. That might be good. Aki says, loved your Children's Book Pro course, by the way. Thank you, Aki. We, I split my time between illustration work and svslearn.com, which is just an online educational platform teaching illustration. And last year we launched a children's book course. I just realized, like, if I do a Ukrainian style ship, like everyone's gonna be looking at that instead of this one because of how much it's in the news. So we're gonna do yellow and purple. We'll do purple. Now it's a LA Lakers ship. That's too purple. No. Hey, Braden. Hello from Ukraine. I don't read Cyrillic, so I can't pronounce your name, but thank you for joining us. Carr says, from Ireland here, Americans always say Republic of Ireland is the UK. Alongside that, their great-great-grandparents are Irish. I won't ever do that. This is the Jake Parker promise. I will never say the Republic of Ireland is a part of the UK, if that's what you want. Let's see, maybe we do yellow and gray, like a light gray. There we go. I like that. Oh, now it looks like a Naboo starfighter. I don't know if I like that either. I like Naboo starfighters. I just don't know if I want this ship to be a Naboo, to look like a Naboo starfighter. There's a way to fix that, and that's what you do is you do a color in between the two. Now, just by adding that red makes it, makes it its own ship. And we'll do gray above here too. There we go. That looks cool. What we could do is, we'll keep it like that. And then we'll go over here and we'll do, we're just going to make this one like a nondescript, kind of a brownish ship. Like a beige, unassuming ship. We'll make it beige, and then we can give it little accents, like a light blue accent. There we go. And then this one we'll make it another variation of that. Oops. We'll do like a darker blue. There we go. Now I really want this one to pop, and this one is calling a lot of attention to itself, so we're gonna select it. This is how I do color, guys. This is not scientific. It's like mostly gut, I think. There we go. So now brightest color is here. That's the focus. So Master Chill asks, for example, the Naboo fighter, would you make something appear like that in a story or avoid it altogether? I would probably avoid it. Just, it's such an iconic ship, and when you're making stuff, you just want to, unless you're doing an homage to Star Wars, something like that, you just want to do what you can to like be unique and bring your own like flair and flavor to it. Okay. I'll be right back. And count to 10. I'll be right back. Aki says, Jake, where do you announce about these live streams? I was just lucky enough to catch you this time. We were actually just talking about that. And I usually do it on my Discord, and I'll do it on my newsletter or my Kickstarter updates, or I will do it on Twitter. I forgot to do it on Twitter. In fact, let's do it right now. Okay? Let's do it right now. We're going to move over to the browser, and let's go on Twitter and just let people know that we're coloring spaceships. I'll say, come color spaceships with me. Live streaming now. And then we need a picture. So we're just going to do this. You know what? We're going to do a screenshot of OBS up here. I'm just gonna, you can't see what I'm doing, but I am screen grabbing that. And then we're gonna paste it right here. And now we'll see if, we'll see that really quick while I'm here. This is the coolest thing. This is from Faith Schaefer. And she says, I've been making a presentation about how I plan and execute personal projects. Here's some slides about timing methods I find helpful for staying on task that you might also find helpful. So I read this morning. I was like, this is just the thing I needed today. 5 minutes. The theory behind the 5-minute method is you trick your brain saying you're only going to work on something for 5 minutes. This can lead to getting absorbed in the task. And before you know it, you're just working. And that actually works for me. I'll say, okay, when I don't have motivation, I'll just be like, okay, for 5 minutes, I'm going to do this thing. And that's usually all you need to get going. 15 minutes, this is less for hands-on creative work and more for planning. If you find yourself with random hang time during the day, i.e. waiting for water to boil or a friend to drive over, use that time for light planning. Start a to-do list, brainstorm ideas, etc. So she says this method is great, especially to snap out of doom scrolling aimlessly. So that's just like finding little nooks and crannies to do some productive stuff in those hours where you might, or those minutes where you might not be doing anything. And then I don't know if you've heard of the Pomodoro method, and that's the way of working that involves 25 minutes of focused work followed by 5 minutes of rest with a periodic 15-minute break thrown in every few cycles of this. That one is pretty effective too. What I do is I have a playlist that lasts 1 hour, and I'll turn on that playlist and I'll say, I'll just work until this playlist is over, and then I'll take a break. That's usually what helps for me. And then what we got here is 30 minutes. When I'm working on any long form project, I try to time the work so at the end of the day, I have a task left that will take about half an hour to complete. By giving myself a task that takes 30 minutes to finish first thing in the morning, I get an easy win early in the day and feel more motivated, which is cool. I think you could also save that for the end of the day. So if you're working on a multi-day task, you can like finish your day with a win instead of unfinishing something. So, all right, here's our ship. Let's go back to it. Let's get back to what we're doing here. Okay, we're going to highlight this green, and we're just going to desat it just a little bit. And okay, next up is, in ships, and you look at this reference I have here, like all these panels are a little bit discolored. Nothing's uniformly colored. So we're going to add some of that to this, and we're going to make a multiply layer here set to 30%. We're just going to grab one of these grayish brown things. And we're going to come in here and pick some panels to be a little bit darker. Let's just select that. So they're divided by, some of them are divided by line work, but you can also do some that are just on their own. And the implication there is that like these are little places where things got patched up. And all this does is it just gives your design a little bit more believability. Let's go in and fill in these guys. And you want to do a little bit of a variance. I'm using one light brown beigeish color right now, but we can go a little bit darker too in places. So like, let's say this one That one's a little bit darker. Make this one a little bit darker as well. Giovanni Busato says pomodoro means tomato in Italian. Giovanni, you sound like you know you're Italian. Do you have to pronounce it with an Italian accent? That's the question, to make it a little bit more authentic. Pomodoro. A friend of mine last week went to Argentina, and I asked him, what's the... Because I know they speak Spanish down there, and he said it's like a very colorful Spanish. It almost sounds like Spanish with an Italian accent. And I know a little bit of Spanish, growing up in Arizona. We got a lot of Mexicans that live here. And so, one of my friends in high school was a Mexican-American family. And so, you pick up Spanish, definitely pick up, some of the Spanish swear words over time. So it was kind of fun to try out a little bit of Spanish with an Italian accent. We'll say, "Where's the bathroom?" ¿Dónde está el ¿Dónde está el baño? I don't know if I nailed that or not, but it was fun. It was fun to work on. Oops. No tengo la película, mi familia. Okay, so you see there, you add a little bit of this stuff, and all of a sudden, your ship starts looking a little bit more like it was, it spent some time in a dockyard, getting worked on and whatnot. You could do some areas that are, a little bit more. Okay, I think that's enough. Actually, I want to get in here a little bit. And let's just do a little bit on these guys down here. It's a little too dark for my taste. We're going to lighten that up. There we go. Never been to Italy. I'd love to go there someday, though. When I was in 6th grade, we were given an assignment to do a country. You have to do a report on a country, right? And, all the kids were picking, countries that their parents had visited or countries that ancestors were from. And I grew up in Arizona and, had no connection to any other country except for I loved Italian sports cars and Italian food, at least the kind of Italian food we got in Arizona, which I'm sure your average Italian would say that's not Italian food. It's American Italian food. And so I was like, I'm doing my report on Italy, and you had to make a poster, and you had to bring some food from the country that you were doing. So, and this is 6th grade Jake, right? So I made this poster that had like Ferraris and Lamborghinis all over it, and like a picture of Rome, and I also love that Italy's shaped like a boot. Like that's just, what other country has that? None, right? It's not that iconic. It's the boot is such a iconic shape. So then, and then the food I brought in was pizza. I know you're rolling your eyes, but think about a sixth grader bringing pizza to the class. So it was a hit. People liked it. All right, so we've got these things going on. Now we're going to go in. We need to add some shadow. We're going to use dark purple for our shadows as well. Excuse me. I swallowed my water wrong. Whew. Almost died there, guys. Okay. Shadow time. So this shadow layer is it's dark purple, set to multiply, and it just goes straight over the color. So it's super effective and easy for making shadows. That's why I like it. Before we're done with this, we're also going to add like some sort of logo or something on the side of this. So if you have to leave, come back, check that out. So I think that's going to be fun. Okay, so this part's in shadow, but we're going to need to, we're going to have to do a half shadow for half of this. I've got my shadow set to, my brush set to 50% now. You can see it like right up there. And I just save that for any sort of vertical plane. And then I do the 100% for any underneath plane, right? So let's do it right here too. Let's switch to 100% and do underneath. This particular method of coloring is like something I've come up with over the years. I developed it while doing comics because it was a nice, like, you get a lot of bang for your buck when you color this way. It doesn't take a lot of, doesn't take a ton of work, and you can get some stuff colored pretty effortlessly. It still looks good, I think. Okay, let's go down here. The rest of these we're going to do just with the 100% shadow now. A little shadow right along the edge here. Gives it just enough dimension. Oh yeah, we didn't come in here and do shadow on this stuff too. Got to do that. And then this in here needs to have its shadow as well. We're going to go in and probably add some light on some of this later, like some interior light. But for now, we're just going to got to do something like that. Okay, let's do this here. Excuse me. Ooh. Okay. Now we're going to do another thing where we select it all and deselect anything that's not this main ship. And we're just going to duplicate this shadow layer here and hit delete on that and do our gradient. Do a gradient like that. Okay, and that's just adds a little more overall like shadow to it. Let's just try a little bit. There we go. It might be too much. Drop it down there. And then we're going to go in and now we're going to add a highlight. Actually, I wanted to give this guy a little bit of a red cockpit down here. Unless it says Ferrari is so ingrained in Italian culture, you weren't really that far off. When the F1 team wins, they ring the bells of the churches in Maranello where their factory is. That's kind of cool. I love that. Sosai says, would you ever just set the layer's opacity instead of the brush opacity just to be able to change it if you wanted to later? That's a way to do it, but I'm at this stage now where I pretty much know what I want to do now and versus what I want to do later. And it's just an extra added step that isn't going to help me, I don't think, but it's something you can definitely do for sure. Aki asks if I ever get sore from working on a tilted surface. No, I don't. Actually, tilted surface works a lot better for my back than working on a flat surface. If you can't find an angle, a good angle to work on, that's, I don't know. It just takes some time to like figure out what kind of ergonomics work best for your body. But I would definitely figure that out because you don't want to injure yourself. Okay, now we're going to come down here and color these things as well. Okay, now we need to add our overlay layer, which is overlay 50%. This is going to be our highlight layer. And we're going to go in with like just a pinch of yellow. Just a kind of a little bit of a cream color for this. And we're going to just add light on some of these areas right here. And if it's too bright in places, we can always dial it back. So what I'm going to do is erase out half of that. There we go. Now we're just going in and we're adding little bits of highlights everywhere, like opposite of where we did all the shadows. Just little dots of highlights in places. And I'm going to switch this to like since we've got such a soft area over here, I'm just going to do like that. Maybe that's too much. There we go. And let's go back here to this hard round. We're going to just add a little bit of light from the outside coming in there. I think that helps. Aki asks, thank you for answering. Also, are you using pen and keyboard shortcuts? Do you use the remote that comes with the Cintiq? I don't have the remote that comes with the Cintiq. I'm just using my keyboard. And I don't use pen shortcuts. I just use my keyboard. So I'm hitting the B key and the E key and the G key and just kind of going back between erase and brush. Alberto says, is this the next spaceship for the Kickstarter? This is definitely going in the book for sure. You got that right. Just a little bit of highlight on this guy here. A little bit of highlight on this guy here. Paul says, I love that little ship coming into the yawning hangar bay. Feels so spatial, even though it's not overlapping. You magician, you. I appreciate that. Trying my best. Really am. How big do I think this ship is to a human? Compared to a human, Pizza Sauce asks, so this is the bridge, and I imagine a human. This bridge is like 6 feet tall. Let's see here. Yeah, so yeah, I would say human is like, oops, wrong layer. I'd say that's a human size right there. Maybe less. Let's make it less. Whoops. That's a human right there. That's how big they are. So I imagine, like, you know, you got these big veins here, and what they are, you know, they're for gravitational, you know, there's sort of gravitational pulsar things in there to help it wind its way through atmospheres and space and whatnot. But you could have like people who are stationed up in these spots and stuff. It's a big ship. It's a big one. Okay. What's next? Oh, we're going to go in, and now we're just going to add a little bit of highlights. This I think really makes a difference. We need to switch brushes. Okay, here we go. So you just add in little lines like this in places. And you go in and you can delete a few things like that, and that just gives it a little bit more believability, I think. It's a dark matter class cruiser. I like that. Dark matter class. Just adding all these little tiny edges to these creases, and it gives it just that extra, just enough dimensionality to really make it feel like this thing's been thought through. My ships are super wonky too in places, and that's on purpose. The reason is I want them I just want them to feel lived in. So much spaceship art is like really buttoned down and like precise, and don't get me wrong, I love it. I love all kinds of spaceship art, but I think for me, I can do really tight, but there's something nice and freeing about having it be super loose like this. Okay, we need to add I think just a little bit of grit to some of these panel lines. So we're going to try something here. What we're going to do is we're going to select all of these lines, and then we're going to subtract out. How do I do this? We're going to subtract out anything that's gray. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to go in. Also, we're going to deselect anything that isn't our main spaceship. Okay, and then we're going to come in here and make a new layer. and fill this with like this brownish. Okay, now we're gonna blur it about 9 pixels. Whoops, blur, Gaussian blur, 9 pixels. That's too much. We're gonna do 4.5, half of that. 6. Okay, now turn that on and turn that off, and we've got like all these lines are a little bit blurry now, but we're not done yet. We're going to turn this into a dissolve layer. So you come in close, see how they're all like crunchy now? Now we're going to fill this with white and merge this down. Okay. And we'll hit multiply. And now we're going to blur this just by 2 pixels. And you see what that did? It made it all like grimy in places. Okay. So now we're going to just go in here and delete. It's too dark. Whoops. That's too dark. Okay. Okay, so we've got all this griminess now, but you see here it's like coming over the edges. So what we're going to do is take this and invert our selection. So now all the white's selected. We're going to expand by like 20 pixels. So it really comes in there, and then we're just gonna feather those pixels by 20 as well. And now we're going to delete around the edges, so it's not blurry around the edges. So now what we have is like a uniform grittiness on all these panels, and I think that just adds a little more spaceship dirtiness to it. Maybe we'll drop it down to 75%. Okay. Mixer asks if there'll be another part to Skyheart. At someday, I will do another part to Skyheart. You better believe it. But I've got this sci-fi bug in me right now, and that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to do the sci-fi stuff. So I've got to do Spaceships. I got to do some more Redshift Renegades, and then I'll get back to Skyheart. Okay, let's pull up our reference page. Now we're going to go to, oh wait, let's check Twitter really quick. Did anybody respond to the tweet that we're live streaming right now? We got 17 people who liked it. If you're here from this Twitter post, let me know. Glad you could make it. Glad you're here. Okay. Oh yeah, see, that's what social media does. You go over here to like trying to get some ideas for something, and then it sucks you in. I have a folder here called insignias. We're going to come here for some ideas. Because we can't have a ship without an insignia on it. And let's see here. I kind of like this. Oh, that's kind of cool. What if we did a big eye type of thing like that? Let's do something like that. Hold on. This one has a weird logo. It's like a C there. So maybe what we do is this. This is the part I think really adds to the believability of a ship. Ship design is giving it some sort of livery that looks industrial or, you know, capitalistic or something like that. Like, you know, space is such a expensive enterprise that you either go into space because you're trying to prove that you're the best country, you know, under the guise of we're doing it for science, or you're there for actual like monetary reasons. It's sad. I wish we were, you know, I wish we were doing a lot of our space exploration for like really good humanistic reasons, but fortunately I think a lot of it is no, that wasn't right. You know, regardless of why we're in space, I'm just glad we're there, because we're going to need to figure this stuff out sooner or later. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to go in and we're going to add something like an eye logo. We'll make it a circle. And oh yeah, maybe it's like the eye's like a globe. And this is, you know, they will ship anything anywhere that they can see. Maybe that's like their slogan. We'll have it. This is going to be hard. Okay. We'll have part of the logo up here. You kind of get the gist of it. It's right there. And then down here we'll make this a thinner line, and we'll have like its designation number on there, or some sort of alien language. Okay, now we got to go in, and if you look at go back to our reference here, you could see there's just kind of like wear and tear on all of this. So we're going to go in and add that. We're going to add some wear and tear, some weathering to it. Let's see here. You know what? This is too much of like a logo. So we're just going to go in and almost like it's a barcode. I think that works. Okay, and then we're just going to add a few like just a few like painted spots in places where it like kind of identifies ports. Like maybe they, you know, when you look at, if you're flying an airplane, you see on the wing how it's like, don't step here, little markings and stuff like that. This is just little extra added details and spots. You kind of see on like the decks of aircraft carriers, there's all kinds of like little painted lines and spots and places. And I think that adds just a little bit more believability to it. Okay, now we're gonna weather it. We're gonna give this a mask, and you know, there's all these like chipped paint coming off of it from space debris that's hit it and stuff. And like, you know, maybe at one point a ship just kind of scraped up the side of it. So we're just adding little scrapes and dents and stuff like that. Just going to add to the believability of it a little bit. Weathering it. So we've got that going on, and we're going to do it to the bottom here too. What we're going to do is add a kind of a grayish, so that, you know, you could see through. If this is painted red, you can kind of see in places where it's scraped all the way through. And it's something you might not like notice on first look, but it's definitely something that plays to the believability of the overall thing. Oh, definitely got to do it up here. This is where we're going to have most of it, because who knows how many times like someone was drunk trying to dock and they rammed right into, or they're carrying some sort of cargo and it like gets loose and it rams right into the edge of this here. Okay, still not done yet. We got to now add in our effects layer. Cargo brings up a good point. Ship storage seems to be too small for being a cargo ship. Maybe it just delivers quick pizza to anywhere in the universe. Yeah, that's a good idea. Giant pizzas. It's a giant pizza delivery. I like that. Yeah, because you could maybe park 5 of these in there. You know what it is? Maybe what it is these ships can't handle going through jump gates. And so this is a jump gate ship. So ships will come in there and then it'll transport them through a jump gate. Maybe that's what's going on there. All right, this is our effects layer. So we are going to, we're going to add a little bit of space glow to it in places. These are our lights, interior lights for this thing. Now it looks like it's got some sort of energy source happening there in places. Got to give this guy some power. And we got to give this guy some power too. Pizza Sauce, how do you beat art block? How do I beat art block? I'll tell you what, I'll go to like a website like Flickr and I'll be like, just kind of click around and look at stuff. Like, you know, I'll find either something somebody created or like if I don't know what to draw, then I'll find something that just makes me interested. And I'll look at this and be like, okay, what if we turn this upside down? And that became the basis of a spaceship, you know, or if I'm not into spaceships, you know, look at this and be like, what if this is, you know, what if this is the underbelly of some sort of monster and it just has spikes hanging down from it? And what, you know, or what if this is the surface of a planet? So you just kind of feed off of other people's creativity. Or like, look at this. I mean, this is someone's like nightclub or restaurant or something. And I look at this, I'm like, this is such a unique, cool design. I want to design something like that. So that's kind of how I do it. I don't know if I like these lights here. So I'm just going to delete those and keep everything else. I like that. All right. I think this is almost done. Last little thing we're going to do here, and then we'll call this stream good, is we're going to paste down this layer. We're going to take off the G and the B, and we're going to switch this to overlay. And what that does is it just kind of gives it one little extra oomph of color richness to it. And I think we're good. I think we're calling this one done. All right, everybody, thank you for joining me today on the live stream. We did this, it was an hour and a half live stream. That's pretty good. Any last questions before we go? I see Karga asked, what do you use as a screen size? This is about a 10 by 8 sheet. Usually I use an 8.5 by 11 sheet at 600 DPI or PPI. And what can happen there is I work that large. So if I need to print it or print a portion of it or need to blow up or do anything, it just gives me flexibility. So that's why I do it. Let's just do one last check of the Kickstarter while we're here. I really appreciate everybody backing the Kickstarter, and we're at 1,153 backers, And our next stretch goal is 1,400 backers. So we have like 250 to go, 247 to go. But if you haven't backed this yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's going to be a good book. It's a good project, good thing to have in your library. This is kind of the page spreads here. And if you've already backed it, thank you. I just want to let you know, if you want to get one of these prints that I showed earlier in the stream, these things right here, they're the cutaway prints with the overlay on them. You can add that to your pledge, and you can buy one or two, but if you buy two, get the buy two, get one free deal. So you can get all three for the price of two. All right, I think that's it. We'll call it good for today. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next stream.